Roommate shots?
Newmont Colin. He cheers my cup of coffee with his beer can and then walked away. Walked away like a boss.
Not to judge or anything, but it's 10 in the morning, so
9:56, thank you.
hey everybody, AJ Sacher here, back with another podcast, the Nameless podcast. I had the pleasure of having Kenji Egashira on. We get to talk about a range of subjects, most especially streaming. Weird. It was a lot of fun. We actually had to record this twice, basically, because 45 minutes into our hour recording, my power went out and corrupted all the files and I lost everything. So we had to reschedule and re-record, but I think it turned out okay and I hope you guys enjoy it. I will see you on the other side for all the announcements and housekeeping and stuff. Enjoy. This is the story of how we met. And I'm pretty sure this is the only time we've played. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So we're deep into day one of GP San Diego. This is Innistrad Limited. And I go to the pairings board. We're at 8-1 or whatever, 7-1. And I see Kenji Egashira. And I'm like, oh God, I have to play some Japanese ringer in the last round of day one.
That's so good.
Some dude that flew all the way to San Diego to play this GP. I bet he's rooming with Saito and is just some master.
Got all the knowledge.
Yeah, exactly. And so I go to the table and it's you!
I'm just
this bright-eyed, bushy-tailed. Hey, nice to meet you. I'm Kenji. Just happy to be there.
I think that's exactly how I sounded too. I think that was probably my third or fourth GP ever.
You seemed very much like a small child in a candy store. And it was adorable.
I had made day two and I was like, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm pretty sure I smashed you and you were just like, yep. All right, day two.
That's exactly what happened too. I was just like, you got me? Well, here, see you tomorrow. Good luck.
And then, little did I know that young boy would grow up to be baller-ass streamer NumotTheNummy. And then, I remember, so I started streaming Magic as a thing, and I used to... We didn't have host feature back then, so what we would do is raids, which have kind of died out since the host feature, which is a shame because raids were great. But you just go into people's channel, have everybody in your channel go to somebody else's channel and just spam emotes or phrases or whatever. And I remember I used to raid your 30 people with my 400. And that's the way that you transfer your viewers when you go offline. And nowadays I can't even stream when you're live because you are just all consuming. You are just the black hole of Magic streaming.
It's so funny you say that because I get multiple Twitter messages or Twitch messages and people are like, dude, if you could just not be on one time at this specific time when I'm about to go live, it would be really cool. See how many viewers I could get. I'm like, oh, man, it's my work job. I can't.
Yeah. There's nothing I can do, man. I'm sorry.
But man, yeah, way back in the day, there were very few Magic streamers, and I think one of the things that worked out for me is that we started doing it early in Twitch's career, in Magic's streaming career. So
yeah, for sure. We got our foot in the door, which was very helpful.
Yeah.
And you really blew up when you did that 1 year challenge. Mm-hmm. Last time you shared numbers with me, do you still have those?
The stats? Yeah. Let me double check them. I can check. January of 2013, my average concurrent viewers. Just a little bit over 400 at that point.
Okay.
And that was the start, I believe, of the 1 year live stream challenge.
Okay.
And at this point, I was still working full time at a grocery store doing night crew work.
So you're working a job and streaming every single day. And it's not like you copped out to like a draft a day or whatever. Like you would stream for, 5-6 hours plus every single day.
Yeah. No, it was so sick. So
Did you not sleep? Like how did you do
the
it?
schedule worked out like this. The night crew shift started at 11 p.m.
Okay.
and that would go until 7:30 a.m. It wouldn't. I lived real close, so it would take me, like 20 minutes to get home, shower, and be back in bed. So I'd
Right.
wake up at like 2 or 3 in the afternoon after getting home at 7:30 or whatever, 8 o'clock a.m. Go to bed, whatever. Yeah, wake up at 2 or 3, stream for 5 or 6 hours, get ready, then go back to work, rinse, repeat, every single day for until about, I think it was July or August that I quit and I was able to do the streaming thing full time. So from January of 2013 into,
Yeah, for a full 6 months,
Yes.
you were rocking that schedule.
yeah, it's just dead zombie everywhere. And then, yeah, 6 or 7 months later, I was able to do it full time. And by December of 2013, I'm averaging 1,200, 1,300, peaked at 2K concurrent viewers,
From 400 to 1,300.
which doesn't seem like much over the course of a year, but that's huge in Twitch numbers,
Especially Magic Twitch
Yeah,
numbers.
yeah,
Yeah, that is massive. And now you get like 2K.
consistently, yeah.
Yeah,
We
which is outrageous.
this month's everything is 2K. We had that peak at 3K while I was doing the Mocs, and
Right.
that was on delay even, so it's just
Yeah,
it's just been
that's-
growing.
Yeah, that's outrageous. What would you attribute the both the popularity of your stream and the growth of your stream?
I've said this multiple times, and I tell this to everybody who asks. People that are like, "How do I get into streaming? What can I
Yeah,
do?"
what is the let me rephrase it in that context. Sorry to cut you off, but what is the single piece of advice you would have for somebody who is trying to get into streaming?
Consistency, or schedule. Make people know that you're going to be on at this time consistently, and if you have any sort of a decent product, they will come and tune in.
If you build it.
If
They will come.
Yes, if you build it, they will come. And I think that's the key. If I was streaming every single day for a year, so people knew I was just going to be on, they're like, okay, well, I can tune into this guy. He's
Yes.
cheeky enough or whatever. He's at least got some limited skill, even if he's plays fast and loose. Yada yada.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's, humans are creatures of habit, and having something that you can sort of form a schedule around, some sort of pattern to your life, it's very good.
It's just like a TV show. That's what I tell people. My work is like a TV show, just like you would watch sports or your favorite sitcom, every
Right.
specific day or something like that. You can just watch me instead play Magic if you want to.
Yeah, you don't even have to pay for cable.
Like, you don't even have to pay for cable. You might have to sit through ads a little bit unless you have ad block. I have ad block, so I'm not terribly upset if you have it while you're watching.
Yeah,
You could
people always ask me, like, I used to have it on my FAQ. I think I took it off, but people ask me about ad block. It's like, no, man, use that. Like, I have ad block. I have ad block and I use it. I also have an extremely long whitelist on it, but who can be bothered?
Exactly. If people just want to watch, let them watch. It's just more viewership no matter which way you cut it.
Yeah, for sure. It's only one of the many revenue streams. Like, if I'm gonna watch somebody with ad block on regularly, then I'll donate to them or subscribe or whatever. There are different ways to support people other than sitting through ads for things that you'll never buy.
Exactly.
I think that mode of monetization is pretty outdated anyway. Like,
It is, but
it's just like, I don't know, the middleman, is getting, as we enter the internet age, the middleman is being cut out more and more.
that's why we have like product placements on the stream now. Hey, oh man, look at these sweet pop magic.
Yeah. I'm drinking this like Mountain Dew Kickstarter with a hydrating boost.
Exactly. And you're just like, or the chat's just like, wait a minute, that sounded way too much like a commercial.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's why I think that like stream sponsorships are like a great idea, because instead of like somebody somebody who's watching a Magic stream sitting through an ad for Lunesta or whatever, I can pitch them like, hey, here's this website that you can buy and sell cards from. I think that that's a much more effective, both for the advertisers and for you and for the people. Like, it's a win-win-win,
Yeah.
and I think that that's the future. So,
It just totally makes sense, and it fits out perfectly. And I mean, I think more and more people are going to be, or at least businesses are going to be jumping on that opportunity if they get the chance to.
more direct monetization of creator to consumer type stuff, like things like Patreon or
Oh, yeah?
like a lot of comedians. I think Louis C.K. was the first one to do it, but a lot of people do it now, even musicians, of like, hey, we released this album, like, please give me $5 for it. And then they get, $4 of the $5, and it used to be you spend $12 for an album and they get $1 of the $12.
Exactly. So it just works so much better, and it helps the content creator.
Yeah, exactly. It's way better for absolutely everybody except for the dude in a suit.
Well, I have no intent on making a Patreon yet, but we'll have to see down the line. I don't know. My Twitch sponsorship got, or my Twitch, what's it? Yeah, partnership got upgraded recently. So now I'm making more bang for the buck and more ads, or more ads per viewer.
Yeah, and I mean, like, Patreon is definitely an option, but it's more of an option for somebody like me rather than you.
Sure, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you're already like so massive and so deep into the Twitch monetization structure, especially having your account upgraded and everything. Whereas, somebody that is smaller, like, who has a Patreon is Scotty Mac.
Yeah, and that makes sense too.
Yeah, who does like a regular show, and in addition to that has, his podcast and writes sometimes and blah, blah, blah. And so you can support all of the content he creates through that, rather than, just subscribing on Twitch.
I don't know. It's so hard to get into streaming these days, especially Magic.
Yeah. Well, I mean, any game that's already huge, right? Like, you're gonna get boxed out somewhat.
So I like, it's great. You see 40, 50 people sometimes streaming Magic, but the large majority of them have 5 viewers, maybe.
Right. But we all got to start somewhere.
It's true, but I'm just saying in this day and age, it's a lot harder to start fresh, like I did.
Oh, for sure. I mean, when people ask me about streaming, it's like, well, first of all, you have to pick your game, right? Like, it's not default that you're playing Magic.
Mm-hmm.
And picking your game is a weird thing, because you have to be like super passionate about it and in love with the game that you're playing. But if the game that you're passionate about is League of Legends, you're not going to become that streamer.
Good luck.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that market is way oversaturated.
Not just only 50 people streaming League. There are probably 200 plus people streaming League of Legends, and it's...
Yeah, and all of the viewers go to that top 1%.
Yep.
And you're just... you're screwed. So, yeah, that's a big thing. And besides that, you have to make sure that you're offering a unique product,
Yes.
You have to be doing something that other people aren't. You need to give people an excuse to watch you over someone else.
Yeah, some type of niche or something.
Yeah. So, you did coverage for Vegas, and this is after you did coverage for the Mocs. Now, when you got announced to do the coverage for Mocs, I was like, yeah, obviously. Obviously, NumotTheNummy is going to do coverage for the Mocs. He is, like, basically the face of Magic Online for the time being, and being the baller-ass streamer you are. And, it's basically local to you. You know all those guys, and Marshall and all them. So it made total sense. But I want to know, how did you get that gig, and how did you like it?
They were just kind of looking for more people to do coverage. They were, looking for more talent, more people that could bring more viewers to the stream, which is probably why they brought Eric Froelich in there as well. Because, neither him nor I have very much coverage experience, but like you said
Right.
before, we're kind of, I don't know, faces of what we do. He's more,
Right.
the paper, the face of paper. He was #1 at the time. I think he's still rated #1, right? Ranked #1.
I believe so.
Yeah, and
Yes.
then I'm just the online face, the one that's whoa, waving his arms all silly willy nilly.
Yeah, you both have like a ton of exposure, but not a lot of experience on the other side of the camera.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, I think I was probably a little bit more comfortable in front of the camera just because I'm doing that every day. It's not
Right.
necessarily, uh, live in the sense that I'm able to make as many mistakes or be as goofy with things, but it's pretty similar.
Yeah.
It's always
Besides
on.
having to be a little more, a smidge more professional, it's a very similar experience. I mean, if you're used to talking to a camera, which you definitely are, you're only one step removed.
Exactly.
Basically. Yeah.
But for the Magic Online coverage, they had me doing a lot of the interviews, which was, actually talking to real people.
Right.
And I'm talking to the Magic Online competitors. And, when you think of a Magic player, you don't necessarily think of them as like bright and bubbly and talkative or anything like that. But
Right.
surprisingly, most of them were. And, I first interviewed Lars Dom, returning champion, and I'm like,
Yes.
dude, I'm gonna be more nervous than you than this interview. And he's like, yeah, no, I know, man, I've done this before. Don't worry about it. I got I got your back. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'm just shaking.
Oh my god.
So it was funny in that sense. But they had us switching roles a lot too. While I did mainly the interviews, they threw me in the booth a few times and
Right.
just doing other coverage on.
Well, I'm sure they
as
were
well.
just feeling you out, seeing where your strengths and weaknesses were as a caster, and giving you some experience.
Yeah.
I did think it was a little weird because when you think of the WotC coverage team, they have guys that are like professional interviewers, and then they had you and Ifro who are like, the analytical guys that can like do the booth work and stuff, and good with a camera, good in front of the camera, and they had you guys interviewing people. It was a weird disparity.
Yeah, it was funny too. So we mainly wanted to interview, people that would converse with us, that wouldn't just give us one-word answers.
Right, because the Magic Online series, you could theoretically have a bunch of people that just like don't speak English.
Yep.
Yeah.
So luckily, I think only 2 people didn't speak any English,
Okay.
and for the most part, most people that were either kind of withdrawn in speaking or didn't speak English, they didn't do so well. So we got to just interview a lot of
They
people.
bombed the tournament.
Yeah, yeah.
They
So we just
bombed-
got to interview a lot of people that were really energetic and
dodge the bullet.
yeah, exactly,
there.
could speak English. So it's really nice for us.
Very cool. And then, so from that, you kind of parlayed that into the Channel Fireball gig, just like their tournament split into 2, and they're like, we need a bunch of casters. Hey, this guy can do it and did it for WotC, so let's get him.
For that one, I think Channel Fireball was not expecting to do coverage. I think they were told that WotC would do it all at first, and then they were kind of thrust upon
Right.
them, and so
Right.
they were scrambling to get commentators. But the funny thing
I
is,
imagine most of them would want to be playing the tournament rather than casting.
exactly. So
Yeah.
so I don't know how far down the picking order I was. They asked a lot of pros beforehand if they wanted to do it, and they're like, "Oh no, we want to play," and so they get to me, and I get to do the thing. And then day 2, after some of them scrubbed out, they're like, "Hey, can we come in the booth for like a round or 2 and do some of this commentary now?"
Hey, it doesn't matter how far down you are on the call sheet as long as you're on the call sheet, right?
Fair.
You got the gig. That's all that matters.
Fifth string gets called up every once in a while.
Exactly.
I'm doing coverage. I'm with Ben B. Hayes and Matt Sperling, and I'm in the booth with Sperling to start things off. And the very first thing he calls me, and I'm here with Kenji Egashira. All right, and it's a reasonable mistake. It's a reasonable mistake, and then he makes
Yeah.
it, a few more times in the same scene, I guess.
Segment,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Before they cut off, and I'm like, oh, dude, it's Egashira, and it's like, oh, shoot, okay, sorry, my bad. And then so throughout the rest of this was on day one. Throughout the rest of day one, it's all great. Ben doesn't get my name wrong at all. We're going to day
A
two.
consummate professional, Ben
Yeah,
Hayes.
yeah. We're going to day two. It's perfect. Everything's great, great, great. Matt has started calling me Kenji, aka NumotTheNummy, instead. Maybe just so he doesn't have to say my last
Just
name.
sidestepping the
Yeah,
whole
exactly.
incident. Yeah.
Exactly. So I mean that worked. That worked just as well. But
Yeah.
it's all going great. Then we get to the very last part of the stream. We just covered the finals. The game just ended. We're doing our sign out, and Matt's
Yeah.
like,
After two 12-hour days, you're finally done. Getting ready to close down shop, thanking the viewers for spending their days with you.
and so Matt's like, and for Kenji Egashima, I'm Matt Sperling. Thanks for watching coverage of blah blah blah. And I'm just like, no, Matt, please. Oh, it was pretty silly.
So that brings me to a thing I wanted to ask you about, which is the NumotTheNummy. You are one of the few people in the Magic community whose brand is not just their name.
Yeah.
Right? How do you feel about that? How do you feel about being NumotTheNummy?
I love it. I embraced it, ever since I made my MTGO account. That's where I got NumotTheNummy. It was actually from my EDH commander. I used to have an EDH deck or whatever, commander.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, so Numot was my very first commander, and that was about the
and
time.
And you like to eat?
Yes. No. I don't like to eat. Numot is just nummy. Numot himself is delicious or good tasting.
Sure.
Yeah,
it's a term of endearment.
Yeah. When you're like feeding a baby or something, it's like, oh, it's so nummy. Here it is. Something like that. But,
yes.
That's where NumotTheNummy comes from. I embrace it. More so because I guess there's another Magic playing Kenji that a lot of people know. He happens to have like a Hall of Fame ring and stuff like that. He's pretty decent at Magic.
No kidding. It's a little difficult to be Kenji in Magic.
Exactly.
There are a few people that get to be, just the first name. It's like John, Bob, Kai, and Kenji. It's like, that's it.
Yeah. But funny story with that, I was at Worlds down in Cali one of the years, and that was when it was still open to the public, I believe, right?
This is the last one that was San Francisco 2011.
Yeah, that's probably right. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. And anyways, I was playing in a side event or something, and somebody comes up to me, they're like, "Dude, are you the Kenji?" And I'm like, "No, man, that's Kenji Samura. I'm just that other guy.
I'm just NumotTheNummy."
Yeah, no, he's like, "Oh no, man, that's who I'm talking about." Yeah, really nice to meet you. I was like, "Ah." Oh, it was pretty great.
Yeah, well, I mean, with all the people, with Magic blowing up as it is, and you being as popular as you are, and you are a lot of people's first or biggest exposure to Magic. And Kenji's been, semi-retired for a few years. So this whole new generation, and it is a huge generation of Magic players, to them, you're the Kenji.
Kind of usurping the other Kenji. I'm sneaking my way in there and like, boom!
Yeah.
Here I am now.
Well, I mean, I'm sure to him, it's like, he can't go by Kenji in Japan, because Kenji's like John over there. Yeah. It's just like the most common name. I don't want to spend a lot of time on it, but I would feel remiss if I didn't at least bring it up. Goifgate.
Oh, Goifgate, okay.
Do you have any brief thoughts? Because I don't want to harp on it, but I do want to hear if you have something to say.
I said this on Twitter when all of that hubbub was blowing up, and all I said was, "Get the sleeve." I don't fault him. I would. It's foil Goif. Like, I had already made the top 8, or if I had already made the top 8, I'm feeling great as it is. Yes, I want to win, but it's a foil Goif.
Yeah, even if you take the actual stamp and story value aside, strict numbers wise, EV, it's like definitely plus financial EV to take it. So if you're not going to take it, that means that you are choosing the 2% upgrade to your deck over the $150 gain in expected value from the $400 jump versus the prize. But there's totally nothing wrong with that, and if you feel that way, that's totally great. I don't think that it's reasonable for anybody to judge somebody else for doing that.
No, and I think a lot of the pros and just a lot of people in general were quick to crack the
Yes.
whip and be super harsh, like
Yeah, it was pretty startling to
angry.
see how harsh it was, the backlash, and I don't know. It's just like my initial reaction was like, haha, okay, and then when I read it and actually consumed it, it was like I was kind of like, who the fuck do you think you are? Like you don't get to judge somebody's financial situation. You don't know what their life is like. Like, if they have rent to pay, how are you gonna tell them that their decision is wrong and you lose all respect for them based off of something like that? Like, I don't know. It was pretty bad.
A lot of them were like pillars of the community too, and then we
Yeah,
see
you're supposed to be the ambassador of the game.
yeah, we see a lot of apologies coming back. I don't know if that was prompted by something else or what, but it's kind of funny.
Yeah, I mean, if you read the apologies, it's pretty clear it was
Yeah,
thrust upon them.
PR's like fix, 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 fix.
Yeah, and a couple of the people, not to name names, that were involved in that, have had public image issues in the past, and even social media issues. So I don't know. Maybe don't have a Twitter if you can't handle it.
Yeah, I guess not.
It's if you're gonna abuse it, don't use it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But that's my feeling on Goifgate.
Yep.
Just get this.
Mine as well. Get the sleeve. I made a joke earlier about. Well, it's not really a joke. Well, it's a joke with a pretty heavy truth behind it.
The black hole.
That nobody else gets to stream when you're streaming because you just own the internet. And it's pretty true, but a lot of people seem to think that there's a lot of competition between streamers. I don't know if you get this at all, but I get a lot of people in my chat that will like watch me, and if you or MJ is streaming or whatever, they'll say like, "Yeah, I'm watching you instead of that other guy." The perception seems to be that we're against each other, and I don't feel that way at all. What are your thoughts on that?
No, that's definitely how a lot of the people, or they definitely say that in my channel too. They're like, oh man, well, I was watching this person, but now then I saw you're on, so now I'm here.
Yeah.
It's like this silly thing. I like to think of it as a little bit as a competition, but it's not. It's not like, oh man, I need to just stomp all of his viewers and steal all of it. Like that.
Yeah.
It's more like, I guess a friendly thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's weirder now because the disparity between the viewers in different streams. It's not as competitive, I guess. If
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah, it's not like there's 5 people with 400 each.
Yeah.
It's like one guy with 2K and one guy with 400.
Yeah.
And then a bunch of people with 10.
Yeah, but it's not really a competition in that sense anymore. I mean, I just like to get more viewers, sure, but that's why we host other people, because we want other people to.
Yeah, exactly. I'm pretty sure that we're just all like very supportive of each other, and even between the hosting and the raids, and like we're all mods in each other's channels.
Yeah.
And I can't speak for anybody else, but I know that when I'm not streaming, I'm watching somebody stream, and I'm watching at least one person stream, if not multiple.
Exactly. Like last night, I was watching 3 or 4 people stream, and like somebody's like, "Okay, Kenji, what channel are you gonna be in next?" And I'm like, "Dude, I'm already in 4 other channels right now."
Yeah, I do the same, and when I do stream at the same time as you or somebody else, I'll actually turn off my music because I know that people like to multi-queue streams, and it's really hard to do when everybody's listening to their own music because it just clashes. Yeah, exactly. It's like somebody's listening to, Lindsey Sterling, and somebody else has Led Zeppelin, and it's like, well, it's actually kind of worse.
That one time where the progression is just right on.
Yeah, the beats line up. That's how mashups were invented.
Yeah,
right?
I think so.
But yeah, it's a very lateral, like horizontally supportive community, because we can support the smaller streamers, and we talked about this last time where, we both tend to go into, or at least used to go into smaller streams and, see what was up and say hi and answer some questions if they have them or whatever. I actually used to have a ghost account because I got tired of people being like, hey, you're here. Why aren't you streaming?
Yeah.
Which is like a pretty dick move to be like, in somebody else's chat, like, hey, why aren't you streaming so I can watch you instead of this person that we're talking in front of?
It's so great when that happens, too. I'm just like, oh, come on, man.
Yeah.
I'm here to watch this person right now.
Have a little tact, please.
It's funny.
It is. But, I mean, if two streamers, say, get paired against each other, instead of one person having all of the viewers, both viewer counts go up.
Yeah. You get that migratory from both sides, but they both stay in each other's channel, so it helps out, certainly. The thing is, most of the streamers, all of the streamers, probably, they started from ground zero. They worked their way up, so they know what it's like to...
Yeah, there's a lot of mutual respect going on,
exactly.
And, most of us know each other just from Magic. Mm-hmm. That is one thing that's different about the Magic community versus some other communities is having to deal with people IRL. We actually run in the same circles rather than, just being isolated people in our own little huts.
I love it. I wouldn't change anything right now.
Yeah, it's pretty gas. I'm always a big fan of whenever I mess up and I see the Numot punt, 4 people spamming your emotes or Boix's emotes or whatever. I'm just like, yeah, because it's a rising tide lifts all ships type of deal.
It's everybody loves everybody, man.
Yeah, and everybody's going to be watching at some point. So as long when we don't overlap, there's always somebody on. And it's kind of worked out pretty conveniently because you stream pretty early and I sleep in, and then
I woke you up early for this Skype call though.
I did have to wake up early for this, but for you, Kenji, anything. But yeah, and then I'll stream, and then Doc or Boix will come on right after me, and it's perfect because I get to never be bored, basically.
It's a continuous, and for lack of other words, stream of streams,
Ooh, like a snake eating its own tail.
Yeah. Wait, that doesn't work out in the end, does it?
I don't know. I'll have to draw a diagram.
I'd be interested in seeing how many people, when somebody logs off, how many of those people immediately go to another channel of this, of Magic.
Yeah, I would love to see stats on that because I do a long sign off when I stop because I never run commercials while I stream. So what I do is I thank everybody for watching, tell them to follow, blah, blah, blah. I'll give some shout outs to subs and donors of the day or whatever. And then I have a log off screen, end stream screen. And I let that sit for a couple minutes while I run commercials. So everybody that isn't actively still at their computer are the only people left.
Yeah, it's amazing how quickly people leave as soon as you say you're signing off. It's just pew.
Yeah, exactly. So I'll have 400 people watching me, and then by the time I'm actually done streaming, if I go to host somebody, it'll be 100 people left.
Yep.
So I don't get the stats of if I host somebody, that's not enough. That's not complete information because those people are Xing out and opening another chat or opening another stream, not waiting for my host to go through. So I would love to see that because I feel like Magic is definitely one of those it's such a life-consuming addiction that if you're the type of person that's going to be watching a stream, you're the type of person that's going to be watching multiple streams.
Exactly.
You got to get those stats. I would love to see
the people that stay in the channel versus immediately leave to a new one, or
no, the people that leave to a new one versus leave to go to YouTube.
Oh, sure, just off the site completely.
Yeah. Okay, so you are red-eyeing in 12 hours-ish to Charlotte for the modern GP.
I guess it's not... Red-eye, does that imply just overnight, or does it apply like you're flying there and then doing the thing immediately? Because I guess I have a day to rest.
I don't know. I don't know what the etymology of red eye flight
Yeah,
means.
because it's not like I'm flying in Saturday morning, getting there at 8, and then heading straight to the GP. I have all of Friday.
Have you ever run that gambit?
No.
All right, so yeah, it is not an easy gambit to pull off. I used to do it for the SCGs a lot because I was like working during the week and then had to play Saturday morning.
Yeah.
It's not good. Some people can do it. Rietzel does it a lot.
Yeah, I know that. Rietzel's a magic fiend, though, or at least he used to be.
He's a psycho. So for the GP, I assume you're on Twin, unless you switched it up.
Nope, still on Twin. Got my list right here.
You all tested out and ready to go.
I'm not tested out. I'm gonna do the same thing that I did for the last modern GP, or kind of have been, just playing a match here or there online every once in a while, and then.
Yeah, I've seen you play a little, but I mean, you mostly draft.
Yeah, just get there and wing it.
Yeah, the cards are in English,
Yeah, and it's a lot easier to play versus people in paper too. They miss a lot more. They're not as accustomed, I guess, to modern interactions.
Yeah, and they just give away more, like, information-wise.
Sure, yeah.
The way that they handle their cards and tap and stuff, like with the timing tells are a lot easier to pick up on.
I thought I did really well at the last modern GP, so hopefully I can repeat that.
You lost playing for top 8, right?
No, I won my round for top 8, but my breakers. So I had the same record as 6 people or something, but the worst breakers of them.
Oh.
So there were like 6 people that were 12-2-1. They were all X and 2 going into the last round. I was X 2-1 going into the last round.
They all drew,
and I won mine. So so the breakers were.
And they all held.
It was like 1 point something %, which is kind of big in a 15-round tournament, but.
It still sucks, especially because X2 like auto queues.
No, so this was one of them where it wasn't big enough to auto qualify with an X2. I think you had to top 4 this one, but
top 4?
Yeah.
Wow.
To get the invite.
Right.
If you were, yeah.
I mean, I am intimately familiar with that experience, being one of the few people to have a GP top 8 that did not qualify them for a Pro Tour.
So it's like,
Yeah, story's actually kind of insane. I was at GP, God, what was it? Miami, maybe, or Atlanta, something like that, somewhere in the south. And Shuhei sees me and is like, we were going to Vegas together afterwards. After the GP. So Shuei comes up to me at the GP and is like, so, Costa Rica? And I'm like, absolutely not, you idiot. Like, that's never going to happen. He's like, all right, well, we'll see. It's like, no, man, I can't afford it, whatever. And he's like, all right, so how much do you have to win in Vegas to go to Costa Rica? Like, straight up, it's just like, how much do you have to win in Vegas? Like, which is like the least Japanese thing, to be like, basically putting me on, like betting me, challenging me like that. So I just pulled a number out that I thought was, unattainable. I was just like, $2K or whatever. We were only gonna be there for a few days. He's like, all right, holding you to it, And then
this is great.
Sam Black also ran into me at the GP. He's like, so Costa Rica? I'm like, no, man. What's
everybody's doing?
Yeah. Who spread this rumor that there was a chance I was going to Costa Rica? Sam's like, well, I feel like you weren't fully informed when you made that decision based on the choice you made, which is a very Sam Black sentence. And
it's cryptic.
Like, right.
It's like cryptic almost.
Yeah, it's like the labyrinth code, Or like a SAT like logic puzzle. So I was like, all right, well, what pertinent information do you think I was missing? He's like, well, have you heard about the turtles? No. He's like, all right, well, it's like the season where the baby turtles hatch.
Oh, when they come up the shore or whatever.
And yeah, go down the beach into the water. And so, like, on Thursday before the GP or whatever, we're all driving like 5 hours to the beach to watch the baby turtles. I'm like, oh man, that sounds amazing, but like, I really can't afford it. And he's like, all right, all right. So we go to Vegas, and sure enough, my first night there, I just have the best night of poker of my life. I'm playing 1-3 with a $500 buy-in, and I'm sitting on like 3,200, just crushing the table. And Shuhei is playing at a different table and like sees my stack, and with unbeknownst to me, takes a picture of me with just stacks and stacks and stacks and like a spread of bills underneath it, like looking the other way, shuffling chips. He takes a picture and tweets the picture, and in Japanese says, "Hey everybody, AJ's coming to Costa Rica," without saying a word to me. So yeah, sure enough, I got talked into it and had to go. So I go to Costa Rica. We end up getting kind of screwed out on the turtles because there was like the earthquake that happened before, so it like messed up their schedule. Turtles, like, yeah, it was lame. But so I played a GP, and like, I can't believe I got talked into this, but I end up making deeper. I lose to Ben S for XO of day one, and then cruising day two. I pick up a second loss, and I'm playing Shuhei. We have like a win or win in. You have to win one of your next two.
Yeah.
And I play Shuhei playing for top 8, and he like barely beats me in an insane match. But I end up winning the next one to squeak in.
This was the one with the crazy top 8, right? It was just stacked.
Yeah, it was GP Costa Rica, and there were it was like all Americans and like Willie Adel.
Yeah.
So I end up winning in the last round. I beat Max Teets playing for top 8, which is funny because his tournament was lose to me, lose to Ochoa, lose to Ochoa, lose to me.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Yeah. But so I top 8, and I'm like, all right, top 8 of the GP, but top 4 qualifies, and I get Shuhei again.
Oh no.
In the top 8, and I like multiply in game 3 and still barely lose, and he ends up winning the tournament. Yeah. So I'm like, did you just invite me to this? Like, did you just convince me to go to this pro tour so you could farm me all the way to the win? So the last subject I want to discuss, although it may be a long one, is your pursuit of the pro tour.
Oh, my pursuit of the pro tour.
Yeah, well, you're my guest on here. I want to sort of interview you. I am startled regularly when I'm reminded of the fact that you have never played a pro tour.
I've never played a pro tour.
That is very bizarre to me because you seem more than qualified and yet aren't qualified.
Yeah, what I should be doing is probably going to these local PPTQs or regional PTQs or whatever they're called nowadays.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Those things are... I mean, you're playing the online ones, and you've made some deep runs on stream.
Sure.
You have made some deep runs in GPs as well.
Yeah.
I don't know, do you want to make the pro tour? Like, what does it mean to you? What are your goals in Magic?
I think more than making the pro tour, but I think I would be making or qualifying for it anyways, is like just top 8ing a GP. I don't necessarily need to play on the pro tour. I don't have any grand expectations of doing super well at a PT or anything like that. But I think I could take or bink one of these GPs, and I'd feel great about my accolades for Magic, I'd say.
Sure.
But
you're not like I'm gonna be the next John Fick.
No, nothing like that. It's great. It's like the PTQs and the Mocs and stuff online are all convenient because it's it pulls in a lot of viewers. I'm gonna be playing Magic anyway, so why don't I play in these big online events and see how well I do?
Right.
But it's not like my dream to make super deep runs, the PT, get on the train and stuff like that. Sure, I'd love to make it on once and play and say I've been in a pro tour, but it's not
It's not what's driving you.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I just love to play Magic.
Yeah.
I'm not looking to take it to that super high level, I guess.
Did you ever have that? Did you ever have PT aspirations?
Sure, I've probably done, you know, man, I've probably only done 15 or 20, and that's like top end PTQs in paper in my life.
Okay.
I've probably done a lot more online PTQs than I have paper PTQs. But yeah, certainly when I was younger, when I was first starting playing, probably in, well, I first started playing when I was like 10, but
Yeah.
going to my first PTQ when I was 12 or something, sure, that'd be awesome. But I was terrible back then, and
Yeah.
it was more like, oh man, I could do this. It was child
When I grow up,
yeah
I want to be. Yeah.
childhood wish as opposed to something feasible or something now that I really want.
Right. Well, now that you're playing a lot, and this is another unseen type of thing, ramification, if you will, of the consistency of streaming is I don't know if you know the numbers, but if I had to predict, I would say that at the start of your streaming career, you were probably like low 1800s player,
Sure.
and now you're like low 1900s player, which is a huge jump.
That's a huge difference online.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's not a coincidence that when you play Magic every day, you start winning a lot more. What do you think of your abilities versus, past you and the competition?
Yeah, no, I mean, I still play very, very quickly. Like I've always played very, very fast, kind of just making snap, judgmental decisions. But
Right.
it all comes faster now too. So I can.
Right. The intuition that you're developing, as you hone that, playing faster gets a lot easier.
Exactly, exactly. It's just like doing arithmetic or something. Oh, 1 + 1 = 2, 2 + 2 = 4, and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
when you're first learning it, okay, you'd be like, all right, 2 + 2, that's basically 1 + 1 + 1 + 1, and
Right.
yeah, so it's something like that. It's just
When your brain does the dissection for you subconsciously.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's just a lot more intuition. I've certainly gotten better. I mean, it's hard to say that I haven't in some capacity.
Yeah.
Doing a lot better in these events, or just in I guess longevity terms. I don't know. It's again, it's just about reps. You put in any number of reps on anything, and generally you're gonna improve.
And with doing a 1 year challenge and streaming
Yeah,
as much as you are, you're definitely doing the reps.
exactly. So I'm making them gains of rating and whatnot. It's
Yeah.
nice. It feels good. Plus, I get to
You're
play
making
Magic.
you're making all sorts of gains. You're looking good these days, I have to say.
I got to hit the gym force myself to go. I can't just sit in a chair 10 hours a day and.
Yeah, well, that's another thing is when you started streaming and you were so busy for those first 6 months. I mean, you only started really working out and lifting and stuff pretty recently, right? Like,
Yeah, consistently probably for the last few months, but I mean I've had a gym membership for years now. It's just I would
yeah,
go.
but you're just paying a fat tax.
Yeah, that's precisely what it was.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Well, what do you think about that lifestyle change? Because that's something that I've also been going through a little and enjoy talking about because it has some unforeseen ramifications.
Sure, no. At first it was like a few months ago when I first started hitting the gym. I was also just eating super healthy, making all these pre-made meals in bulk and then freezing them. So I'd have
Yeah.
meals for later and stuff. High protein, lots of water, taking tons of vitamins, stuff like that. And it was fine. The funny thing is, I was like, oh man, I just, and maybe this was stupid, but I'm like, oh man, I'm just not seeing the gains I want to see. It's a slow, steady progression. You can't.
Yeah, it had only been like 2 weeks, and you're like, I'm not huge yet. What's going on?
Maybe not that short of a period, but it was like a month or two, and I'm like, I don't really see anything. But
Yeah.
it's hard to notice a difference when it's a slow change, anyways. I can
Yeah, for
definitely tell
sure.
now that I'm in a lot better shape than I was. Oh, Jesus! As I knock my
It's your first time with a
yeah,
microphone?
sorry, it was actually the pop blocker. Anyway, what I was saying. Oh yeah, I can definitely tell now that I'm in a lot better shape than I was, when I first started lifting or not. But now
Yeah.
I'm drinking beer again. I'm drinking hard A again, and I'm not necessarily watching what I eat as much. But as long as I maintain going to the gym, staying active, um,
For
it's
sure.
great. Not only is it physical health, right? It's a lot more mental too. You just feel more confident. You feel better about yourself. So it.
Yeah, and like I definitely felt my mind like clear up. Like it's hard to describe, but there's just this like fog around your brain and a tiny bit of exercise, like 10 minutes of exercise, and 20 minutes later that fog just clears or at least thins.
Yeah, and you get that endorphin rush, and then it,
Yeah.
I think it carries over into magic too, right? It's
Oh, for
it's like
sure.
take care of your body, take care of your mind. It's the same thing. So
Yeah, I've recently also adopted the Tom Ross like just chugging water throughout tournaments.
chugging
Like,
water, huh?
yeah, like he drinks like a bottle of water a round.
Wow.
Yeah, and I have tried to do similar. I probably do a bottle of water every 2 rounds, but just like drinking nothing but water. Not caffeine, just water, which I'm like hopelessly addicted to caffeine. So that's a bit of a problem. But it's I don't know. It's a completely different experience of a tournament of like trying to like maintain the balance of all the chemicals in your brain and like making sure that you have just enough energy to finish, but that you're not like going to be strung out and not be able to sleep and go to day two. Like rather than just now where I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna play the tournament and be fine, and then afterwards be fine.
Yeah, I think that's a problem a lot of people have. They don't prep necessarily for these bigger events. They don't bring water bottles with them. They don't bring like a bag of nuts or some beef jerky or something like that. And then they're forced to just find a water fountain if they can, or buy some soda and then get like
It's
a chili dog on the side, and it's like
yep,
you
soda and greasy fast
yeah,
food,
you're
and then
just
they
slugging
wonder
yourself
why
down.
they're crashing at the end of the day.
Exactly.
All right, that's all I got. You got anything to discuss before we close it out?
Nope. Thank you for having me on. It was a nice, informative, entertaining experience.
Yeah, absolutely. Good luck this weekend, and always in the future.
Gonna try to kill it.
Are you streaming right after this?
No, I gotta record a video, and then I have actually the streamer event at 1 o'clock. So
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, I'll be watching that.
it's busy, busy.
Yep.
So the streamer events are funny too. Like it's supposed to be a communal thing, but there's always one or two streams that, like you said before, black hole all the other ones. So that
Yeah.
some of the people that are in this like streamer event only have 40 people.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's going to be the nature of it,
Yeah.
especially when everybody's trying to listen to music.
Mm.
I remember the first one of those, which is the only one I've ever been invited to, was um, right when they were making the change to version 4. And they asked us to use version 4, and about 2 of the 8 of us did.
Oh yeah, I do remember that. Yeah.
So that's my experience. So I'm already like pretty skewed on the whole thing. But it is interesting because you get people from all various, like you'll get like the EDH guy and the guy who makes videos, and then the guy who actually streams, and then the guy who plays professionally that sometimes streams. Like you'll get like the Efro or Luis or whoever.
Yeah.
It's funny to see all these different and the coverage guy, like it'll be Randy or Marshall or whoever. And it's so interesting to see not only the convergence of those different fields, but also like how the viewers are distributed.
It's a good way to get samples of.
Yeah, exactly. But like it's kind of like they're stepping into your house, because it's like the medium that you're in.
Take
and
off your
their medium-
shoes.
Exactly, exactly. So they're like, all right, yeah, well, I'm really famous and popular and loved. Like they'll have, a million billion Twitter followers or whatever. And they go on the streamer challenge and they're just like, I have a tenth of the number Kenji does. It's pretty awesome. All right, good luck, my friend. Thank you so much.
Yep, thank you for having me.
Hey everybody, post-production AJ here. Want to thank everybody for listening. Apologies for it being a bit late. In addition to having to record it twice, I've also gotten quite ill, which delayed it a few more days. I have a couple of guests lined up, but I'm still interested in who you all want to hear from. Probably have Greg Hatch on again soon, as it seems everybody wants to hear from him, unsurprisingly. The final sort of announcement that I have is that I am hoping to revive AJTV. I mentioned this last time, but didn't really give any details besides my desire to do so. Right now, I'm looking for a website that is interested in purchasing it, and I'm having some difficulties figuring out the best way to sort of monetize it. It's very possible that I just end up creating a Patreon for myself and uploading them to this YouTube channel if I can't strike a deal with a website. So that's the update on that. Hopefully I'll start making them in the next couple weeks. And in the meantime, I just started a series of videos, also on this YouTube channel, called Modern Maniacs, which is a show where I play crazy bucket list-esque deck lists in Modern. I'll probably branch out into other formats eventually. The first episode should be up shortly after this podcast, and I hope you enjoy that. I also still am streaming twice a week on Mondays and Thursdays, although I took this week off because I'm a little under the weather. So go ahead and check that out over at twitch.tv/AJSoccer, and you can get all the updates for all of this from my Twitter, which is just twitter.com/AJSoccer. So thanks again for listening, and I will see you next time.
I went to the first Modern Masters GP, and I was there to play, and I didn't do any Vegas life. I just went back to the hotel, which, funny enough, okay, so this is a story from the first Vegas Modern Masters GP. I was rooming with my buddy Woodrow, and man, we stayed at like old Vegas, kind of.
Yeah, downtown Fremont Street.
Yeah, area. Yeah. So, but it was a super cheap little motel thing, but like. The very first thing that happens is we stop at like a 7-Eleven or so, just some convenience store, and there's some hooker outside. She's just got a thong on this loose top, and she's talking like she's just screaming at somebody on the phone, and we're just coming out of the store, walking away like, okay, let's get out of here.
Yeah.
And then we get back to our motel, and we hear from across the room like some pimp and one of his hookers and yelling and shouting and screaming. We're just like. Click of the lock, and just slowly backing away and just gonna be quiet for the rest of the night.
It's like, oh, it's not just on television. This actually happens.
Yeah. So, but, Modern Masters 1, I didn't do anything. I didn't go out living the nightlife. I just played in the GP.
Old man Kenji.
Went to bed, played some Moto.
In bed by midnight.
Yeah. This one, I had to work, and I stayed up way too late every single night. Like. We got there Friday night, and I went out to dinner with some friends to Delmonico, I think it's called. Pretty nice steak place.
Yeah.
And then we went back to their hotel room and drafted Modern Masters, and that was until like 2 or 3. And then,
well, that's work research. You can write that off. That's
sure, but then I have to take my taxi back to my place, try to get to sleep by 4, be up by 9, ready, showered, looking good. To do coverage. So day 1 goes by, and I'm feeling pretty perky or whatever. My voice is a little bit hoarse from talking so much.
Of course.
And staying up so late. And then we do it again. We go to Nobu this time for dinner.
Ooh, very high-end sushi place.
Yeah, and it was delicious. And then they're like, have you ever played craps before? And I'm like, oh no, I haven't.
Little gamble.
You want to go? I'm like, no, come on, guy. I mean, I don't think I should. And they're like, oh, come on, let's do this. Yeah, you got beginner's luck. You're gonna kill it. Don't worry, it'll be fun.
Yeah.
You won't stay out too late.
Beginner's luck. If beginner's luck is a thing anywhere, it's a thing in craps.
So we get there. It's kind of hard. We have to stake out a table for a little while for all of us to to get a corner or whatever, because I guess in craps there, there's slots around the table.
Yeah.
So we can't always just jump into one all next to each other or whatever. So we have to bide our time to get there, fill in the slots or whatever. We find a place for me. I just buy in for $60. The shooter is I'm like farthest away from the shooter that you can be. So I'm like the last person that's gonna shoot from my standpoint.
Okay.
Yeah. So it goes around. I'm up, down, up, down. I'm betting the field, or I think it's called, which is a terrible bet. A lot.
Yeah, the worst bet on the table.
Yeah, but it's fun, and I'm like, all right,
It's the one-
ups and downs, ups and downs.
It's the one that Cedric just shoves on.
Yeah. But they're teaching me how to play, and so I end up putting a lot of my bets on 6s and 8s, and what's the one that's is it below the line something?
Pass line, don't pass line.
Yeah. Anyways, I'm making the smart bets, I guess.
Yeah.
So-
The closest to break even you can get.
Exactly. It's like 49% if you're doing it right.
Yeah.
So we do that for a little while. It's a few hours later. It finally gets to my turn. I'm short stacked. I'm like $20 left. All right, gotta get those hot hands. Gotta get those hot hands. I'm like, okay, no, you got this, man. You got that fresh blood in you. I just throw the dice. It's great. I start off just running hot. I bankroll it up to close to $300 for my 60. And we're just getting drinks the whole time. We're just,
Of course.
we're all yelling, we're screaming. When we throw the die, we were like yelling card names, Palaka Worm, Palaka, it was silly things like that. And it was so much fun. We look at our watches or whatever, it's like 3:30, almost 4, and I'm like, okay.
Oops.
No, actually, they said that. I wanted to play more. They're like, okay, Kenji, we're going to send you home now because you have to do your coverage gig in the morning. I'm like, no, man, let's keep playing. And like, no. We would.
You're like yelling, going hoarse. They're like, oh my god, this guy needs to work tomorrow.
Yeah, they're like, no, we'd feel bad if you just didn't go. And I'm like, all right. So, pocket my money and head home, and didn't get much sleep again. Voice was even more
The
dead.
first time shooter in craps is like the biggest of games in Vegas.
Yep.
You're pure of soul.
It-
I think is what it is.
It's so much fun. Oh god, I just
It's
want
awesome.
to play craps. That's all I want to do.
Yeah, I live in Vegas, but I don't really gamble. I mean, I play poker, but I don't like gamble. But I went to a party for a couple of friends of mine. Their anniversary. They always do this big drinky party thing, and we played some craps, and I rolled for the first time, and I got a decent roll, and made everybody a couple $100, and it was like, all right, yeah, first time roll, like very cool. And then the next guy, who's lived in Vegas his whole life and is a degenerate gambler, goes on the roll of a lifetime. He rolls for like 45 minutes and makes everybody like $2,000 each. And people are just like screaming there's like a crowd gathering and everybody's all pumped up, and then like finally he craps out and everyone's just like giving him big hugs and stuff and like tipping him. Like the people are just like giving him chips. And I'm like, well, guys, I did good too, right?
What
Like,
about me? This is my first time. Please.
just totally stole my first roll thunder.
Oh, it's funny.